If you ever played RuneScape before it was taken over by microtransactions, or for the lack of a better term, monopolized, you would know that the game doesn't have to look good in order to perform great and succeed. Sometimes all it takes is a good concept and fairly balanced system, and the game will do the rest. Well, this game in particular reminds me so much of this forgotten and yet dearly beloved game known to us as RuneScape. With extremely simplistic art style with low poly textures, Gedonia reminds us of what it would be like to fall in love with an RPG title just as if today was 2001. Developed by single-man army Kazakov Oleg, Gedonia takes you back to the medieval age and puts you in the shoes of an adventurer who leaves his home village and pursues a better life. From the very beginning, you customize your character, then proceed to choose the best category for that particular character, and you'll be set on your way. The game's difficulty will be determined by your stats and the decisions that you make. Pretty much your stereotypical RPG title. Despite what faction you choose, the world will have random strange events throughout its open world that you will take a very quick notice of. Gedonia offers a complete freedom with its exploration. Sure, it offers quests and missions along the way, but the game's approach will be limited by you and you only. The world in Gedonia is a very beautiful and yet very mysterious place. There's different biomes for you to discover, hidden caves for you to explore, and plenty of enemies for you to defeat. As you accept quests, you will have different ways of handling them. For instance, you could choose charisma or stealth skill to sneak through and complete your task that way. Or you could just test your strength and go absolutely crazy with your power. There really isn't a rule book for you to follow. You kind of just have to handle things as you wish. If you've ever played Zelda Breath of the Wild, you might be very familiar with the puzzle-solving challenges, and that's exactly what Gedonia brings to the table. As you uncover mysterious dungeons, you'll be tasked to solve quite a few of them, so I would just recommend that you get comfortable. You can also recruit different uniquely skilled allies to your team, so if you're having a difficult time completing one design task, then that would certainly be an option for you to consider. Gedonia also does a pretty good job with allowing players to get a bit creative, to say the very least. Build and decorate your house, gather resources and plants, and you can also farm animals and potentially use them for something else. Generally speaking, this title isn't trying to recreate something new. In fact, it's doing things the old way. The old-fashioned way, if you will. It's picking and choosing the things that were great in previous RPG titles, and it combines that with some other great things, and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, Gedonia is inspired by old-school classic RPGs. I think that's definitely something you need to keep in mind, especially if you're thinking about investing your time into this game in the first place. Don't get me wrong, we all welcome and love new ideas, but there's certainly no shame in picking what worked in the past and use that in another game, especially if you're being open-minded. As I mentioned earlier, the game is developed by a single man, so definitely don't expect some sort of AAA acting style and voiceover. It's simply a low-budget project that started off as a passion and then slowly turned into a part-time gig, if you will. Currently, Oleg is working on Northern Kingdom's development, which will feature new dungeons, bosses, and quests, and that's not even to mention the level design work that will require some serious attention before this. Gedonia is not a system-heavy video game that will require a heavy-duty machine to run it. In fact, it is a complete opposite. You can literally run this with Intel Core i5 processor and you'll get an incredible performance out of this. The only minor thing that might come as a disappointment for many experienced RPG players would be the small amount of customization, collision, and clipping issues, and little to not much detail put into the storyline itself. The dialogue in the game is semi-cliche and short-handed, which is honestly, comparing to the style of the game and the feel of it, isn't really a big deal anyways, especially since it leans more towards the year of the early 2000s. As far as the environment of Gedonia, it might feel frozen in the way. Nothing really ever changes, especially as far as the outside life of your character. When you start the game out, you see Henry outside minding his own business, and Henry's a totally made up name, by the way, but anyways, chances are you'll come back and he'll you'll be doing exactly the same thing. And that's what I mean when I say that the life outside of your character is pretty much lifeless. But honestly, take this with a grain of salt because that's how most games were back in the day. If the things I just mentioned don't bother you one bit, then I think you will be truly amazed with what this game brings to the table. The replayability of Gedonia is its truly strong point. There's just no denying that. I think this game was intended for a very specific nostalgic group of players, and I think it executes that pretty well. If you've been dying to try something old school style related, then I think Gedonia will definitely get you covered. I'm gonna try to keep this video very nice and short for you guys. This is mainly for those who want to have a quick overlook on Gedonia at the moment. This is not a full-on review video. This is pretty much me just talking about the game, what it is, and the gist of it. I will definitely make part 2 if you would like me to. You already know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit a like button for me. Comment down below your personal experience with the game. You know, are you thinking about buying it? Are you liking it? Things you wish for in the future? Let us know down below. And you know, chances are Oleg himself will see this video. And as always, this was your boy Roos, and I'm out. Goodbye.